morning, YouTubers, subscribers, and friends alike. It's Grant coming at you from Fresno, California. It's September 10th, 2017. I went to the resort in Lake Havasu City, worked there 4 days. Worked one day as a maintenance, and another day in the boat shed, and another day as a bartender, and another day as dishwasher and bartender. And then I was told that I have to wait for, another 4 days till the main boss got back to have a meeting with me, but I could stay in employee housing. Until then, I just couldn't work, so I kind of had the feeling, and I knew I was getting laid off or fired or something, and then this last Thursday was that day at 3 o'clock. They came in and did a meeting and said that they had to let me go. Which is okay with me. I didn't really fit in there. It was a decent job, but sometimes people have other plans. So I headed out into the desert, south of Bullhead City, Arizona, down to Needles, California, and then went west from Needles, California, into the actual desert. And it was one of those times when you just totally wing it. I was hitchhiking, so I knew there was a half a decent chance of getting a ride, but then the desert, because it's so desolate, lots of people don't want to pick you up, and I kind of half knew this. I spent an evening probably walking 5 miles, taking my time doing it, and out with a thumb up and all that crap. And didn't get any rides, so I spent one night underneath the storm drain bridge thingy. And then the next following day, it took almost till the afternoon, and I finally got a ride with a nice old guy, John, who was headed all the way to Fresno. And so I just stayed with him on that ride and drove a little bit under half the trip. I drove 2.5, 3 hours of it, and he drove the other 4 or something like that. It was pretty far. I hadn't originally planned on going to Fresno. I was going to try and get to the Pacific Coast beaches, because I've hung out at like Myrtle Beach and a couple of those other beaches on the eastern coast board, so I wanted to do the western coast board before heading out. Doesn't look like that's going to be possible. I don't know if I'll get there in time or not, but I'm now waiting for the paycheck from expediting, because my fleet owner hasn't cleaned the van out yet, and then he'll finally pay me. After he does that, I'm looking into flights from here in Fresno to Honolulu, Hawaii. And I'm gonna go check Hawaii off my bucket list. A couple things off my bucket list. Number one would be getting on a plane, the commercial plane. Ever since I had my uncle brought me up in that little Cessna biplane thingy about tried to kill us in a long time ago when I was like 15. He's almost scared me of ever flying, because he took me up, did it like a barrel roll and stuff like that, and then purposely shut the engine off and coasted it down and tried to fake like it, we were in trouble or something like that. But then when he went to actually go do it, turn the engine back on, it didn't want to turn on. And so we hit the ground hard by the time he got it back up and out. Scared the living daylights out of him and me, and he told me never to tell my mom that. And ever since that flight, and especially being that was my first flight ever in any kind of airplane, I've been kind of scared of getting on a flight. So now that it's been a few years and everything, I think I'm going to get back on and do it for real. My girlfriend, or kind of sort of girlfriend, is looking into private jet charters, like the empty leg charters of private jets. When they fly a rich guy that charters the flight for $2 or $3 grand one direction, and then the pilots have to get home, it's called an empty leg, because they have to fly that plane back empty anyway. So sometimes you get really good deals, and they sell the six or 8 seats, or probably about 6 seats, on a private jet away for like $200 a person or something, just to cover the fuel cost of the jet going back home, so that the pilots don't have to eat that if it's their own plane. Sometimes it's ran by their own planes, the owner operators. And so she was looking at that, and so far there's one in Fresno going to Hawaii on next Tuesday, and then next Wednesday after that, after this following Wednesday. So depending on when I get paid, I could maybe take a private jet to Hawaii, which is strange, but that would be on my bucket list, too, also, is to take a private jet. Maybe not in that fashion, but After that, I could tell people I took a private jet at least. Or if nothing else, that costs $200 a person, roughly $2 or $250. And a commercial coach seat costs $313 plus tax on a commercial airline going that way. There's plus sides and negatives to both. Private charter jets are more likely to get in a crash, I guess, than commercial airlines or something, from what I've been reading. But then your commercial airlines have more crowds of people, and then you have to wait in line and all that crap. In a private jet, you don't. You just show up at the airport on a different side of the airport, and they check you right through, and there you go. So I'll see what that happens on that. But anyway, until then, I'm hanging out in Fresno, California. I might sneak off to closer to the West Coast to I forget the name of it now. Yeah, Santa Cruz. Because Santa Cruz has an airport that will do commercial flights only, as far as I know, over to Hawaii for that $313. And so for $50 more, it might be worth my time to go to the actual West Coast beach. Stick my foot in the sand kind of deal while I'm waiting on that paycheck anyway. It depends on how many days that's going to be. I have to get a hold of them this next week and see. But I might go that route and have to hitchhike the rest of it. I'm still 60 or 80 miles away from the beach now at Fresno. Something like that. I hadn't planned on really doing any of this, you know. It's just after I got fired there, you have to leave employee housing anyway, and I thought about buying a van, and probably would have bought a van had my paycheck come in this week, like he said it was gonna, but then he hadn't got to it. And been a local city van driller in Bullitt City, in Lake Havasu City area, and I would have loved it, and that's always going to be plan B. I might go back there and do that too. I don't know, it depends. But I want to start getting a lot more of my bucket list checked off. You know, I'm a lot happier. It doesn't matter where I'm at, as long as you're happy doing what you're doing, you know. It's I miss expediting, but like I say, I don't miss the eastern United States at all. I love it out west. I feel much better just being out west, for one thing. And I want to try and do Hawaii, jump around the islands maybe, figure out something for work down there. For the winter, probably, well, it's, you know, everything else is in colder weather. And then when it gets warmer, either go up to Alaska, because it's almost closer from Hawaii to Alaska than it is to go continental and back. Or, like I say, I'm going to go back into expediting next summer. But for now, anyway, I'm taking a leap of faith and waiting and looking into that plane, because the plane ticket's only $300, and like I say, it would scratch the flying on one plane or another off my bucket list, just so I could feel better about myself, I guess. And then it would also scratch going to Hawaii off my bucket list, so 2 in 1 shot. And stuff like that. And part of the reason is because when I was walking the other day, and it might be because my body's just not used to walking that hard, but I walked about 10 miles or something like that, which doesn't sound like much, but we'll try doing it out in the desert in flip-flops. Both my feet are killing me, but mainly my side started hurting by my kidney. I don't know what that's going on with that. It might have just been getting dehydrated, so I didn't like that, so I drank a lot of water, and it started to feel a little better, so maybe it's just a combination of dehydration and my muscles spazzing out from not working like that, you know, because when you're expediting, you're just sitting there driving. I will never forget my expediting career, though, because that was probably by far one of the best jobs I've ever had. And if I had my own van and could do it that way, that's the way I'd go and do it. But for now, I'm going to take some adventures, get this scratched off my bucket list and stuff like that, because I don't know what's going on with my side. It just reminds me of my dad and how he went out with the start of kidney cancer that went to everywhere else. And I'm not saying that's what I have or nothing. It just makes you wonder, because it is heretic, yeah. So my brother and I should get checked at least every 10 years or something for his same kind of cancer that he had. Not that I want to live that way or anything. It's just when he died at 60, it kind of was the trigger point in my life to say, hey, get your stuff done that you want to do now. Don't just be waiting until you're 65, 70, because the truth is you may not make it there this day and age with the way they accidentally or otherwise poison our food supply with pesticides, and then they hope that you go buy a whole bunch of pills to counteract that so they can have the pharmacists and doctors and everything can make bank off you and everything. This whole system's just set up to make money off of you left and right, whether they're killing you on purpose or accidentally or what. So long term, you're almost better off doing sustained farming, which, by the way, while I'm here, I'm looking into doing woofing in a couple of different places. There's a cherry farm, there's a coffee farm, and there's an actual weed farm or something here in California next to Fresno. One's like 10 miles out, one's like 5 miles out, and the other one's like right on the edge of Fresno. I don't know which is what yet. I gotta research it again and see, but either which way you go there and you grow the coffee, or they show you how to make the coffee or whatever. Or you pick berries, or you go sort out the leaves from weed or something or another. And they pay you room and board, and then the one of them does room and board in exchange for your work and for 20 hours a week. Or you could work full-time at 40 hours a week and you only get paid 20 hours a week, so they can keep you under 20. And then you'd get the room and board as your other part of your pay. And you learn about sustainable, organic farming, I guess. But it looks good on your resume on top of other things. And then as I'm sitting here, you know, it's a perfect kind of temporary job, so I'm going to be looking into doing that while I wait, because I don't know how long it's going to take that guy to get around to paying me in his paycheck. He's busy driving his own van and said he just hasn't had time to stop in Toledo and get it fixed and serviced and then have his accountant pay me. Kind of just somewhat being a dick about it, really, but probably because I left short notice and he didn't give him the time to try to change my mind. But even still, he offered me the job back if Bolt Express would take me back, you know, now or next summer or whenever. But like I say, I don't really want to go back to for Bolt. I want to work for myself in my own van. Not a better idea if I was going to go that route. And I'm still thinking about that and setting that as a goal, to set up the side the money and then go to a Chicago auction or somewhere and buy a van like Tony did and then go into it. Or there's another fleet owner that I talked to a long time ago that has these box truck type vans, and you know, he treats his drivers pretty much like a lease program. You know, here's the van, pay me this much a month, and then they of course get paid too first, just like Bolt Express. But it's one person out. It's all in one company instead of Bolt Express getting paid and then your fleet owner getting paid, and then you, at least with his company, it's a mom and pop company. It goes right to them, and then they pay you after they take their van lease, a portion of it out. One less person in your pocket messing with stuff, and then they go the entire United States. They don't care if you're a solo driver or team driver or what, if you can run the loads, you know. And that's the best part, is he's got a deal where he's got a license with a broker board. I'd have to pay like $35 or something to get my own license, like underneath his or something like that, and then I can bid on my own loads on a load board. You just open up the laptop and see what all bids are available, like on a website, and bid for what you want, going where. Sounds like a much better idea than waiting on somebody to give you a call and say, hey, we got this, and then the whole entire time you don't know how much of the percentage of load they're making off of you doing the work, driving it. So I'm setting that up for next summer. You know, at least if I go to work for this guy, it would show me kind of another step into how to be bidding for loads myself, and then go get my own van and do that, and look into U-shipping too. So I'm really looking into that next March or April starting. But for the winter, I want to take a break from driving. I drove that 2.5 hours yesterday in John's Jeep so that he could sleep, because he was tired from driving all the way from Kingman, Arizona. And it wasn't his Jeep or nothing, just any vehicle in general. I don't know if expediting turned my driving into work or what, but I haven't even drove in like a week and something, and then I drove that 2.5 hours, and that was enough for me. So I don't know if I'm just sick of it or what. I think I went overkill, hardcore, just drive and live and drive and live and drive and live and expediting, and I burnt myself out on it or something, because now driving isn't even fun. I don't know what the heck. But then part of that could have been because he was sleeping. I didn't have a radio going or nothing, so no music. I like driving with music on, something to listen to. And then I was trying to be quiet so that he could sleep. And then on top of that, his Jeep was old enough that it didn't have the AC and everything working, so we just flat out went with the windows down kind of thing. So it wasn't the greatest of a ride over. But I mean, it's wheels. It's way better than walking. But sometimes you got to get out there and just take that chance. You know, I walked out in that desert, wide open, just nothing but desert as far as you can see. And I got further and further away from that town of Needles, California, to where I couldn't see that town anymore. But you got to just have faith that sometime is going to come along, especially when 300 cars pass you by. And nobody stops. But I knew, you know, stick with it. Get out there, do it. One of the bravest, stupidest things I've probably ever done. But man, did it ever push my comfort level to be way out there in flip-flops with hardly any food and water left. Just saying, oh man, I'm gonna be screwed if I don't get something. And then finally, the right guy, and the best part is, he took me pretty much even further than I was figuring on. I was trying to get as far as Barstow or Bakersfield, and then we went all the way through there, and then up north of Bakersfield up to Fresno. So I am overjoyed, because Fresno is smaller of a town than Bakersfield. It's not too bad. It reminds me about the size of Rapid City for the downtown area anyway. I haven't seen the whole thing, but on the map it doesn't look very big. It looks like a pretty decent place to hang out at if I had to, but like I say, I'm trying to maybe look into going to one of the beaches on the west coast, like Santa Cruz, just to be able to go hang out on the beach while I'm here in California, you know, because last time I was in California was 10 years ago. I was at Sacramento and I never got to go there to the beach. We tried 2 or 3 different times, something always came up. So that's on my bucket list too, to scratch that off, putting my foot in the Pacific Coast beach somewhere, so in the water, I mean. This video's getting pretty long at the 16-minute mark. That's the best of updates I have. I'm basically just kind of hanging out. I love my free time, though. I love not having somebody whispering in your ear all the time to get to work or whatever. All my time is my time. I can... there's a few hours in between when I'm taking advantage of all the resources in Fresno. I didn't have to. I could have planned this a different way, but I knew that there's places you can get clothes, there's places you can get food, there's places you can sleep for free. Might as well take advantage of those places while you're in town, rather than spend $40 at this motel or $50 at that motel or whatever, you know, or go buy your clothes again. I'm gonna go do thrift clothes, probably just a couple pairs for around here, and then not gonna take anything as much with me on the flight and stuff. It's just less stuff to pack. That backpack that I have right there just has some underwear and socks, and then my other, you know, laptop or phones and stuff in there. But I've kept it as light as I can, because I learned a long time ago there's no point in packing stuff. I mean, for $10, anywhere between $10 and maybe $150, $200, you can replace a lot of what's in that backpack anyway. It doesn't take much to make that nowadays, you know, a day or two of work. If you had to replace it, I'm just saying. So why pack it all over the place? But I kept my pack down to like 10 pounds. I thought about doing the Pacific Crest Trail out hiking, you know, and just work myself up to it, but those guys do like anywhere between 6 miles and 20 miles a day when they start, and then they're up to 20 miles a day before they set up camp, and another 20 miles a day all the way from Mexico to California. And after doing the 10 miles in the desert by myself, maybe if I had people to walk with and talk with and everything, it'd been a lot better. But the 10 miles in the desert, of course, I didn't have the best of shoes on either. If I had a better pair of shoes, it probably would have worked better. But I just totally decided to wing it. I didn't go buy another pair of shoes or nothing. I just, like, I'm going to see if I can make it. I'm going to push my comfort zone to the limit, you know, and go out there with things with, like, shoes that I probably shouldn't have done in flip-flops. And hardly any food and water. But I said, it's enough for a day or two, and let's roll. And I am pretty damn proud of myself, because I knew on this, at the other end of this deal, is if I got to wherever I was at, I would be so proud of myself for going out there and just totally winging it. It sounds very stupid, very, I don't know, some people would call it immature, but those same people are tied up in their insecurities, that they can't leave the house without food and who knows how much money, and these days they just don't know how to live, I guess. I don't know. I thought about doing the Pacific Crest Trail, the hiking trail thingy, but man, 20 miles a day, every day, I'd have to really work up to it, and I gotta lose my gut. I am losing my gut a little bit, though, in the 2.5 weeks that I've been out here. I went on a Subway diet for a while there, just for the hell of it. The Subway was closest to the employee housing thing, and cost less than employee housing did, so, or the employee meal thingies did on their meal card, so I did that for a while. Ate about everything the Subway had on the menu, and I could feel my gut getting trimmed down, getting tighter. So I feel just a lot healthier anyway, getting out here and just being way more physical than I was. But that's the latest on my update videos. I'm gonna go to the library and upload this today, and check out the local resources around here, and check out how to get to maybe Santa Cruz, California, and make sure that I can take an airport plane out there. I'm still trying to hang out in Fresno though, because there's a chance of getting a private jet here. If my damn paycheck would show up, I'd know for sure. Because once it showed up, then I could just book the flight. And I'm on the list, but you don't have to pay till that day with the private jets. Since it's an empty leg, they don't know if the Richie Rich guy that they're taking with them is going to all of a sudden last second change his mind and say, nah, I want you to hold the plane here, I'll pay for it to hold it, and then fly me right back. So the rest of us on that empty leg thing are just kind of last second, same day type of flights. You know, you get on a flight that's going back, but they show you kind of a schedule of what's coming up, so you can't really pay for it in advance anyway, because it could change last second. And that's the way that they like to run their private jets, that from the Richie Riches that don't actually own their private jet likes to run the charter plant or jets, so that they can just change their mind on the whim, you know, if they want to go back all of a sudden or not, or what. And those pilots just go wherever they want as long as they're getting paid to do it. So, but there's a chance, like I say, to get on that in the next 2 days or whatever. If I got paid tomorrow, it'd be Tuesday, or the week after that, it'll be the Wednesday that I know of that has private jet charters going to Hawaii. All depends on when I get paid on that paycheck. Hopefully it'll pay me the next couple weeks. But my battery's getting pretty low. This video's getting pretty long. That's the best update I've got for you. I'm looking forward to shooting videos of Hawaii for you all, and showing up in Hawaii with like maybe $400 on me and totally winging it, being that beach bum. Totally looking forward to it, because I've set a plan in motion, I've got a goal, and I'm totally happy doing it. That's the difference in life. You gotta be happy with what you're doing, no matter what you're doing, how you're doing it, etc. Like and subscribe, leave comments, and we'll catch you on the flip. Peace. Paddy Wagon Police undercover for up California, apparently. That truck just lit up all over the place with red and blues. That one with the white topper that pulled over that weird looking thing with the van. That's actually California Highway Patrol, but that's their new undercover version of it, apparently, or resource truck or something. Anyhow, I just thought I'd show you that. That is extremely weird. I am out on the 99 northbound to Modesto, California, trying to hitch my way up to Oregon and Washington, maybe. I don't know where else. I might go off to Hawaii if I get my paycheck. I haven't decided yet, whenever the hell I get paid. Anyway, that's the latest of my update. Thought I would show you that really weird ass truck with a topper that's apparently a cop. Weird. Like and subscribe, leave comments. We'll catch you on the flip.